This is Pharma Forum web editor Nicole Raleigh, and I am live on site in Madrid for Veeva Commercial Summit 2024. And with me is Chris Moore, President Europe of Veeva Systems. And today we'll be diving not just into a summit in review, but a year in review in the life sciences as well. So Chris, it's fair to say that 2024 has been a year of transformation and innovation of pharma, yes?
Yeah, very much so.
And industry continues to shift towards digitalisation. I have trouble with that word, but digitalisation, and with a far stronger focus on patient centricity as well.
Yeah.
But demand for innovative new treatments with increasing scrutiny around pricing and access is driving biopharma to seek more agile operating models.
Yeah.
Yeah. So according to WNS, together with the Future Laboratory, further transformation of life sciences will rely even more on such technologies as AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, data-driven platforms, and blockchain, but that technology must retain the human in the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris, let's firstly talk about that AI sort of focus, if you will, one of the key themes also at this year's summit. So according to the McKinsey Global Institute report, generative AI is estimated to generate some $60 billion or $110 billion in annual value across the pharmaceutical industry value chain. Indeed, the application of AI to pharmaceutical processes is operational across the board now, able to transform clinical trials at every stage. And here at the European Veeva Commercial Summit, we've learned how pharma can leverage the Veeva Vault platform and Veeva's AI partner ecosystem to boost customer engagement, streamline content, and reimagine the rep experience.
Yep.
We've also heard how Veeva and Microsoft are partnering and innovating on AI, including Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Copilot for artificial intelligence with the Veeva Vault CRM suite. So, Chris, my first question, please tell us more.
So let's unpack a few of those points, because I think they're all great, and as you say, it's been an eventful year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we're seeing at the moment is a number of things coming together. So if we look post-COVID, we're seeing markets catch up with new drugs coming to market and being launched. And we see a very busy run up to 2030 with a number of new innovative medicines coming to market. As you say, when you look at those, they're becoming ever more targeted. So specialty medicines, rare disease, because given the cost of medicines, increasingly innovation is really where you get reimbursed. And so companies are going after more targeted, more niche areas. As you say, that requires a massive amount of information. And you've got to be able to target smaller patient populations. And in order to find them, you've got to be able to get to the physicians that treat them. And it also changes the economics of the industry. If you're selling one simple pill to millions of people, that's a much easier model than if you're targeting a few hundred patients with very, very targeted. So as with all of this, we do see the role of data, analytics, and AI playing a significant part to one, lower the cost of creating medicines, two, improving the effectiveness of the activities leading up to it, and three, better targeting with the correct messages in a useful way, the correct physicians to be able to target the best patients. Now, obviously, we've talked about this before. There's a lot of hype in the AI space, but what we are seeing is a relentless level of innovation towards turning that hype into reality. And it's happening at different speeds in different places. Where we see our role in the ecosystem is first of all, we provide a consistent platform across our customers where we become the reference data of record. So whether that's in the R&D space or it's in the commercial space, we've got great data that is very consistent and clean and known by the companies because it's theirs. So that's a really important building block when you're thinking about who to talk to about what things. The next part of it, though, is that actually you also need external data to be able to make that connection between us as an organization and to ultimately be able to reach the HCPs and therefore patients. And there you need external data. And there, what we've been looking to do is to build that data in a joined up way so that, for example, our reference data has a common model across markets so that you're not having to, or individual companies aren't having to individually stitch that together. And then when we look at deep data to make sure once you've identified the right HCP, you're having the right conversation about the right things that are relevant to them, we've made sure that that, again, directly connects. So as you look at the building blocks, we've got the transactional data, we've got the market data, we're bringing that together. And then the final piece of it is no one company in the foreseeable future is going to have all the data you need. So creating standards for the industry, which we're doing on behalf of the industry, our common data architecture, the aim there is to democratize data, to be able to create a standard framework by which companies would, for example, be able to describe an HCP so that it could be consistent. By doing all of those very unsexy but very difficult things, you start to create a platform to then drive insights. Mm-hmm. And the way that we're thinking about that there is in the whole area of analytics and innovation, no one company is going to dominate this space in the near future. So we've spoken about this before. We think about our AI strategy as number one, we will build bots and capabilities to specifically address needs that we're best suited to. Now, we already have, for example, in the clinical trial space, the trial master file bot, which automates the ingestion of trial master file data, which is a long, drawn-out, laborious process that actually can be automated pretty well. And so that cuts out the effort of the categorization, speeds up the process, and actually lets humans focus on what they do really well. The big innovation at this year's summit was that we also announced three different bots within the commercial space. The first one, the medical legal review bot, does all of the MLR checks required to bring content to market. There's still a final human check, but actually by the time the human gets involved, they've already been given guidance as to where the gaps in the documentation might be, any guidance on how that's put together, which again, a bit like the TMF bot, cuts out a lot of time, effort, and work so that humans can do what humans do particularly well. The second area is the CRM bot. Now, this is an area we've been looking to for quite some time, but we feel the time is right now to solve this problem. So we're creating the capabilities to surface the information from all of those sources, to provide that to a large language model, and then to be able to receive the information back. Now we're currently developing this with Microsoft, as you alluded to, and their Copilot tool. But we are making this an open interface so that, for example, you can bring your own large language model. And that way, companies who choose to go that route with us can leverage their investment that they may have made on large language models, be they from Microsoft or elsewhere. And then the third area, which we're really excited about, is that Apple as Apple do, have come up with a really innovative approach to voice. So with most AI today, most of that happens in the background on a server. What what Apple are doing is they're doing it on the device. So for voice recognition, it will happen on your iPhone or iPad. And by doing that, it actually brings it closer to the usage, and you can get voice ingestion of data. So that's what we're doing, but we recognize that in such a vibrant space and such an innovative space right now, part of our duty to our customers is also to open it up to innovation. And so we've already talked about the high-speed API, which provides near real-time large data to feed large language models, and our partner program, which you alluded to. And here, for the first time at Summit, we have our AI hub, where what we've done is we've brought partners who are doing real work today with real tools so that they can showcase them to the industry. And we hope by doing that, we create our own innovation, but we also encourage others to innovate on our platform, surface it through to make it easier to use, and also to evolve as the technology evolves.
Absolutely. Thank you for that sort of deep dive into it all, Chris.
I was about to say that was a little bit of War and Peace, wasn't it?
It's all right. It's exactly what we want to hear. We want the ins and outs of it all. Yes, so key takeaways from that would be personalisation, quality, connectivity, automation, and then, of course, yes, the novelty this year of the AI hub, including the company Hintello, which was quite interesting to see.
Very much.
So if we focus now on this aspect of AI, and you mentioned earlier going towards standardization in AI, if we think about the year ahead, how might the EU Artificial Intelligence Act kickstart new growth opportunities for the industry? Can you run us through the risk classifications and the key pros and cons of it?
Yeah, so it's a super interesting space where we're seeing for the first time a major regulator starting to set up guardrails. And my understanding is a lot of the premise behind this was to give guidance to industry to help innovate within. And when you look at the regulations, at its heart, it's about how much do you rely on the AI to make vital decisions. And then obviously underlying all of that are the consents that you have to deliver those outcomes. And do you have the approval, especially in our world, to use the data you have, either in the first place or also in combination, depending on the outcome. So I think it's a learning process for both the regulators and also for the technology companies to understand what are the boundaries of what they can do, what they're doing, and how it relates to the level of risk associated with the outcome. And we very much see this as a bit of a journey at the moment. But as we've seen from some of the AI summits, industry's been asking for, don't ask us to regulate ourselves, help us to regulate. And I think the EU's approach in doing this is a very positive step towards trying to start that dialogue. So quite what that means, how it's going to unfold, I think is something that will become more apparent as time goes by. But I think it's a useful step to start the conversation.
Thank you. So yes, starting a necessary dialogue or conversation, which is pretty much where the conversation began with personalisation. So if we really hone in now on personalisation, and not just the importance of the patient at centre, which is critical, of course, from end to end, but personalisation also of HCP engagement, healthcare practitioner engagement, meeting the needs of them, the people at the front line, if you will, on an individual basis. And you mentioned the COVID-19 pandemic earlier, and that pandemic showed how pharma can be both competitive and collaborative, coming back to this connectivity. So if we again look forward to 2025, the life sciences industry will face seismic shifts in its priorities, and digital transformation, as we've been discussing, will lead to significant innovation, but there has been at the same time declining HCP access.
Yeah.
And that in fact is what has forced field teams to break down silos and rethink engagement strategies. And you mentioned specialty areas also. Now, in order to access that area for HCPs, key account management is growing in importance. So I was wondering if you could dive into the importance of KAM and also explain the whys and the wherefores of this trend and development out of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it is interesting. You're absolutely right. We've seen it. It's getting harder and harder to access HCPs. But just to contrast that and somewhat sort of challenge it, what we also hear from HCPs is they want more interaction with the industry, but they want the right interactions. And actually, at the end of this year's summit, we're building off of the closing keynote from last year and exploring how the industry needs to evolve better with their HCP interaction to deliver better patient outcomes. And the net effect, though, is exactly what you alluded to, which is as companies think about how to have better access, better engagement, they're having to be more thoughtful in what makes valuable engagement. And if it's a repeated message disconnected from the same organization, it's annoying. If it is a building conversation that's educational, then it's highly valued. And it's being very, very clear on how do you become that valued conversation as opposed to spamming a doctor with blanket emails that aren't relevant to them. And so against that backdrop, I think what we're seeing is much more thoughtful engagement that talks about the role of MSLs to educate, the role of the rep to actually build on conversations, tying marketing in so that those marketing messages are tuned to the individual that you're trying to reach, and then also key account management. So as we think about it in our home country, it's so important that you're on the formulary in the first place, that you are an accepted treatment, that you've got to have a relationship with that account in order to be relevant. And so thinking about that more joined up relationship with the constituent HCPs who might be describing on that formula or who might own the formulary, and how do you elevate that relationship to establish that position, follow it through with education, and then have an enduring long-term building relationship. That's really the goal of the industry now.
Thank you for that, Chris. So continuing to think about engagement and in particular connected engagement, what was announced at the summit was Boehringer Ingelheim. They came on stage during the opening keynote alongside GSK and BioNTech and talked about their recently announced commitment fully to Veeva Vault CRM, or what has been dubbed the next generation of CRM in life sciences, actually. So Vault CRM permits commercial agility, innovation, and differentiation, enabling more connected engagement to, as we've been discussing, better serve HCPs and improve patient outcomes. And Boehringer Ingelheim is only the latest of global top 20 biopharma companies to commit to moving to Veeva Vault CRM, because it's seeking to expand on its existing relationship with Veeva Commercial Cloud Solutions and its One Medicine and Amplify solutions, the development processes and data for which are also connected on the Veeva Development Cloud. So just to clarify, commercially speaking, what is it that distinguishes Veeva Vault CRM for biopharmas?
That's a great question. So as of today, it is the most complete solution in the market that combines both the data, the documentation and the channels all in one single unified platform. Now, we're also extending that to cover marketing, medical, service, to the point where there is one source of truth across all of that, including connectivity through with clinical. And by combining that with channels, you start to be able to join up that conversation in a way that's appropriate for those companies and within the regulations. So when you speak to a physician, you record it. So going back to that original challenge about how do you have an enduring and building relationship based on added value with every interaction, we're able to help companies to understand that journey, to understand the interactions they've had, and then how to amplify each interaction by making it relevant to the individual. And so there's the CRM platform that covers that breadth, but also the underlying data that goes with it to inform those decisions. And as we talked about it, the ability to integrate analytics and AI to make the process more efficient, more effective, and faster.
Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about your mention there of one source of truth, which is something that has been reiterated at the summits and stands true, if you will. So if we turn to this year's summit, Chris, for you, what has been a key takeaway in 2024 for Veeva Commercial Summit?
So it was a momentous year for us. It was last year, we announced on stage that both Bayer and GSK would be moving forward with us, migrating their products starting the 1st of January 2025. We also said that we would move over to Vault CRM from Veeva CRM, establishing that as our only platform for new customers. And we talked about being ready to migrate customers by the end of the year. I think we are unbelievably excited at where we've got to. It's exceeded all our expectations. As we sit here today, we have 32 customers live on Vault CRM. Vault CRM is now beyond parity with Veeva CRM, and the promise of innovation is now becoming a reality in places, for example, like medical. And looking forward, we said that we would be starting migrations in January. Actually, by the end of the year, we'll have migrated 7 companies across from Veeva CRM to Vault CRM. And we heard here at the summit from GSK, who are starting their migrations actually middle of January, but they'll be live with 19,000 users by the end of September, which again all comes together to that we laid out a path, and now we're able to show with that path it coming true, and the ability to innovate over and above with things, for example, like the AI bots that we announced this year, and paint a new vision for the industry as it goes into probably one of the most exciting periods of new drug launches. So I think it's safe to say we are particularly excited about where we are, but really excited for the future.
Thank you, Chris. Exciting indeed, and an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Nicole.